Welcome class. In this particular session, we'll discuss regarding various theories that explains about the mechanism of evolution. So first one is Lamarckism, or it is called as theory of acquired inheritance. So this Lamarckism was proposed by the scientist called as Lamarck. So according to Lamarck, so he says that during the course of evolution, whatever the characteristics has been acquired by the organism, so it will be inherited for the next generation also. And the main concepts in this particular Lamarckism is use and disuse of organ. It is also called as use and disuse theory. So first one is use and disuse of organ, and next one is inheritance of acquired characters. Inheritance of acquired characters, and the third one is speciation. So these are the main concepts according to the Lamarckism. So this use and disuse theory, it says that if a particular organ is used repeatedly, so it leads to the development of a particular organ or a structure, and disuse of a particular organ, so it leads to its extinction. So this is explained with reference to the example considering giraffe as well as the snakes. So according to Lamarck, he sees that the giraffes, which when they have been evolved, so they were similar to that of the other herbivores only. So as more and more herbivores evolved on the earth, so competition arose between the smaller herbivores as well as the giraffe and all. So this made them to stretch their neck in order to feed on the leaves of the higher plants. So due to continuous stretching of the neck muscles, they elongated, and finally it led to the evolution of the long-necked giraffes. And this long-necked giraffe, once it has been evolved, so this particular species, so it passed on its trait to the next generation, so that the present giraffes all were long-necked. Whereas coming to the disuse of organ, so it is explained with reference to the absence of limbs in case of the snakes. So snakes are the reptiles. So almost all reptiles, they will be having the limbs. So in case of snakes, during the time of evolution, they also had the limbs, fore and hind limbs. But what happened is, as the snakes, they used to touch their dorsal surface of the body to the ground and they used to crawl. So these limbs, they were not used most efficiently, and less usage of these limbs, it finally led to the extinction or elimination of those limbs or disappearance of these limbs in case of snakes. So that led to the evolution of the limbless snakes. And this limbless snakes, once they are formed, so they evolved further, and this trait has been passed on to the successive generation, so that the present snails all are limbless in nature. So that is regarding use and disuse of organ. And next concept, inheritance of acquired character, it says that as due to the use and disuse of organ, whatever the new characteristic has been acquired by the individual, so that character will be passed out, it will be passed on to the successive generation, and ultimately it lead to the evolution of a new species which totally differs from that of their ancestor. So that is how the evolution can be explained according, evolution of new species can be explained according to the Lamarckism. And one of the most popular theory that explains about the evolution is the Darwin's theory of natural selection. So that in case of Darwin's theory of natural selection, so it is mainly based on the two key concepts. So one is called as branching descent, as well as natural selection. So natural selection as well as the branching descent. So these two are the key concepts of the Darwin's theory of natural selection. And according to Darwin's theory of natural selection, it is based on the certain properties such as, So in case of natural selection, so organisms, they tend to overproduce. The main concepts of natural selection is overproduction, and next, struggle for existence, and then next concept is the survival of the fittest, and then natural selection, and finally speciation. So these are the main concepts on which the Darwin's theory of natural selection is based on. So according to Darwin, he says that all the organisms which are present on the earth, they have the maximum reproducing capacity, so that they tend to produce maximum number of offsprings during their lifespan. So this overproduction is required because so all the organisms that are produced, all the new offsprings that are produced, so they may not survive. They struggle for their existence because of the competition between among themselves or with the other species, or it may be due to the predation or due to the limited natural resources. So they struggle for this existence, and finally the one which is superior, reproductively superior, the fittest organism, it will survive, and nature will select this particular species to continue its generation, and this finally led to the evolution of new species, leading to the elimination of weaker one. So that is called as Darwin's theory of natural selection, or the Darwin's theory in general. So in order to explain Darwin's theory of natural selection, various examples has been put forward, or various examples has been considered. So one is the industrial melanism in case of the peppered moth. So peppered moth, scientific name is Biston betullaria. So with the evolution of this particular moth, peppered moth has been seen. So it is said that, so before industrialization in case of England, the tree bark, they appeared brighter or lighter in color due to the deposition of lichens. And in case of this Biston betullaria, that is the peppered moth, there were two different species, one with the white winged and another one with the black winged. So here, before industrialization, as tree bark was lighter in color due to deposition of lichens and less pollution, so when white wing they sit on the tree bark, they camouflaged with their background, where the dark wing one, they were easily exposed and they were more prone to the predation. So during this time, nature selected the white wing as a reproductively superior organisms, or the fittest organisms, and their population increased. But after industrialization, what happened? So due to increased pollution, tree bark, they appear darker in color, as we can see in the image, due to deposition of the soot particle, dust, smoke and all. So this was advantageous for the dark-winged peppered moth, because they camouflaged with their background and they were not easily recognized by the predators. So their population drastically increased after the industrialization. So here the nature selected the white-winged one as a superior over the black-winged one as a superior over the white-winged peppered moth. So here, according to Darwin's theory, we can relate this example to natural selection, Darwin's theory of natural selection, where depending upon the changing environmental condition, nature will select the superior organism or the fittest organism. So one more example that we can consider is the antibiotic resistance, as well as the insecticidal resistance by the bacteria as well as the certain insects. So best example is resistance shown by the mosquito against the DDT. So initially DDT, when it was discovered, it was considered as one of the most beneficial insecticide, which used to kill the mosquito larvae rapidly. But due to continuous exposure of this DDT to the mosquito, so they gained the resistance over this DDT, so that some of the mosquitoes, even though in the DDT environment, they were capable of surviving, and this resistant varieties were considered as the fittest organism by the nature. So that is how it explains the Darwin's theory of natural selection. And next one is the mutational theory of Hugo de Vries. So mutational theory of Hugo de Vries, it was dependent upon the studies conducted on a evening primrose plant that is called as Ornithera lamarckiana. So in this primrose, when he was conducting the studies in the evening primrose, where he saw the different inheritance pattern, when he was studying about the inheritance of the certain crossing over, when he was conducting crossing over experiments and all, he observed that in a single primrose plant species, there were different varieties. So some were with the broad leaf, some with the short leaf, some with the hairy stem, some with the smooth stem as such. And he said that all these variations that are seen in case of the primrose plant, it was mainly because of the sudden mutation that has occurred in case of the plant, and this led to the evolution of the new species. So that is what the mutational theory of Hugo de Vries says. So according to de Vries, the mutation is a single step large the mutation refers to a single step event which occurs drastically all of a sudden, but this has been later termed as saltation according to the Darwin, where saltation refers to single step large mutation. But Darwin sees that the mutation is not occurring all of a sudden in a large single step, but it is a small, gradual, slow process that is occurring in case of an individual. So that is regarding the saltation and mutational theory of Hugo de Vries. And Darwin's theory, it has been also supported by the Alfred Wallace by conducting his own experiments with it of the certain insects, certain worms. Okay, the worms that were used to be in case of the wheat and rice flours and all. So he conducted a similar experiments with them, and he also supported the Darwin's theory of evolution. And Darwin's theory of evolution, it is mainly influenced by the essay that was written by the Thomas Malthus on the population. The population essay written by the Thomas Malthus. So it influenced the Darwin's to propose his theory of natural selection. So that is regarding the theories which explains about the evolution. Ultimately, all these theories says that, so here evolution of new species, it occurs due to inheritance, as they inherit the acquired characters from their parents. So this inheritance lead to the evolution of new species, and that speaks about the evolution of new organism. So that is regarding the theories which explains about the evolution of the organisms on the earth, and it also explains about how exactly this evolution is operating in our environment. So in our next session, we will be discussing regarding the Hardy-Weinberg principle. So it is also called as theory of neo-Darwinism, which speaks about the population genetics, and followed by that we'll discuss about the human evolution in detail.